Hey, welcome to my channel. If you've read the news or if you haven't read or seen the news, it's a little alarming. What's happened basically. Um, by the way, welcome to my channel again. And if you like this, please hit the like button. I know this is going through live. I don't know if actually I can see live stuff right now. Let me see. Oh, god dang it. Anyways, to the point where well, it's very surprising what has happened that I thought initially it was more of a case where basically, quite honestly, it was taken to a point where these pager devices and mobile devices and whatnot were basically they were modified, either modified devices or to something to the point like they were opened up and someone put some little plastiques in there, whatever it may be, and then it caused the explosions. But it looks like more though. This is a little bit more intricate. From if you remember from old school, how back when with machines, specifically desktops, you were able to get it to smoke. Basically not explode per se. Sort of could, but sort of couldn't. But at least melt down, where you would basically send these sort of not DDoS packages, but sort of these, I guess we would call loops, not loops, but more so mathematical issues that would cause the desktops to generate more power to the point where like it just kept going on, and it really to the point where like it just eventually melted down. So I don't know how this was. Well, I'm thinking that's probably the same way it was done with these pages, aka beepers, and it sounds like mobile devices, which I don't think they're smartphones. It's possible it could be smartphones, but I think it's the old school flip phones, basically, the old Nokia's, the old Motorola's, basically, because those days they didn't have these type of kill switches and checks in place to see if this thing's happened. Where if the devices works to explode, it just explodes. Let's put it this way. The reason why I say this is alarming is because I don't know if these protective measures are put in place with these smartphones, basically. Because let's be honest, with the smartphones themselves, most nowadays, got men specifically, they put it in their front pocket or pocket somewhere, or two they're holding up to their ears. Women, mostly Gen Zers and millennials, they're putting in their back pockets instead of their purses, basically, or bags. So it's alarming to the point where the what was done here, we can see probably copycats doing this soon enough, and that's what's alarming for me. Basically, is that copycats may do this. Um, do I think it'll happen? I'm hoping not, but you never know. That's the concern for me. Is I don't know what's going to happen with this, but it's very alarming. Put it that way. That this was a. It seems like it was a coordinated attack. Whether it was from IDF or whatnot or Mossad, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not condemning it or advocating for it. I don't care about that. It's just that what was done and how this was done. That's the alarming part, because if this is on here and it's in the news, look for others to now copycat it, and that's my fear. And you're going to say, well, isn't that? Well, the question is like I don't know if these devices. I'm hoping there are like sort of checks in place or kill switches that if it does explode, it sort of decouples itself or turns it off before it happens from that nature. But again, I don't know. Nowadays, people with apps, people can go through the apps themselves basically and like send it via these apps. So it's unknown. And the real tricky part is like with these devices, these mobile pager devices and whatnot, for them to do that, I'm not sure exactly how they were able to do that, because nowadays you need mostly the IMEIs at least for these devices, or sort of serial numbers. So whether they got them somehow, that was impressive in and of itself. But again, the question is like, are these? Because again, if there are none, mobile manufacturers now have to put this in place. Because to be honest, if someone's holding this in their by their foot by their ear, chances are this thing is going to go and they're targeted. Well, what do you do? I mean, it's not going to kill them, but it will seriously injure the person. Basically, let's put it that way. Um, the other aspect is as well too is this, with the fact that these devices can be targeted from that perspective, it's to a point where like what becomes safe, what can and can't be done, because these devices are connected nowadays. Everything's becoming IoTs that you can't go in and like send these devices to explode. So like fridges, washing machines, toasters, specifically toasters, that's the concern as well too. And toasters and these stovetops, ranges that are becoming smart, if they're smart enough, you could actually cause it to like basically turn on and cause a fire for a toaster. If you have it on, turn it on, cause a fire. Even microwaves as well. That was a concern for me with microwaves. Basically, when Mike what's her name, Amazon was creating Alexa enabled microwaves, it could become hackable to the point like turn on the microwave when the person's not home. Oops, sorry. That was my Alexa here. You could tell it to basically turn on when the individual is not home, and then boom, cause a massive fire at that point. Or for that matter, do it while they're asleep. I mean, honestly, it's very concerning now that in the dark web, it's probably being passed around how to do this, and that's a very alarming thing. And I don't know if there are protections put in place for these devices. I mean, I'm hoping that the mobile manufacturers are putting these in place at least, or eventually put it in place. I'm hoping it's a firmware upgrade more than anything else to put these kill switches in place. I mean, I think honestly though, nowadays with the devices themselves, usually what happens is if they are gonna go explode, if it's in your pocket, the phones themselves do get very hot before they actually do kablooey. So in reality is like if these phones do become hot, chances are you're putting moving it away or throwing it away or something like that, because you're not keeping it on your hand for that long. Especially if it goes really really hot, you're probably dumping it out as quickly as possible. And specifically if it's in your pocket, something's going on, you're like taking it away, and like it starts smoking very quickly, and then you put it out. Because we've seen people where like they dropped their phone, something where there's a problem, like the phone did explode. But it usually, I mean, that's the thing is like we saw or heard about Samsung phones back in the day, those Samsung Galaxy phones back in the day, they were exploding, specifically in planes and whatnot. And like it was not large enough, but it did injure people enough to the point where like, it was worrisome. So again, these devices in the person's, by the person's ear could cause issues. So this is where, those AirPods or Pixel Buds or whatever earphones you're using that are Bluetooth enabled can work. But at the same time, these are Bluetooth enabled. You can still probably do that as well too. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that would be used at that point from that perspective, to the point like you cause the person to go deaf. That's a possibility as well too. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, this is a live. Once it's become permanent, you can hit the like if you like this video. I do ask, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Again, you're welcome to leave comments in the comment section. I do read my comments. I do respond to them. They warrant a response. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Is this alarming or not? Even though this was doable back then, the fact that now this is in the news, others are going to start seeing this and they're going to start mimicking this and copycatting this, being copycats from that perspective, specifically targeting specific individuals. The only thing is, I think you still need the IMEI, but then again, there are the apps themselves too, which contain that information, and so you can go from there. So if you're able to hack into, let's say, Instagram, or WhatsApp for that matter, you got all that information that you need, and you just like go after them at that point. Or for that matter, Gmail. I think almost everyone has Gmail on their phone practically. Let's be honest, almost everyone has Gmail, or Google Maps for that matter, unless you're anti-Google, but or anti-Facebook, then that's a different story. But anyways, that's pretty much it. With that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next.